And we are live with Spot Dodge, a live Nintendo podcast where we also occasionally talk about some non-Nintendo stuff. I am your host, Mary Stowe. With me today is Greg Vargas of PC Invasion and also streamer over at Dynamite Giraffe, and John Frisha, indie developer and managing editor. I knew I was going to screw that up. I had it in my brain.
Hate to break it to you, Mary, but you're fired.
I'm fired. This is the end. But yes, John Frisha, indie developer and managing editor over at The Escapist. And of course, Eric doing all our fancy tech stuff behind the scenes. Now, you may notice we are not down one Brett, but two Bretts today. We have neither a Brett on this podcast. They were both way too busy with their very important schedules to be here with us. So we're going to talk about all the fun topics without them. So let's get into it. Breathless, leaving us breathless. But yeah, so where should we start? Let's start with the Pokemon Presents that happened on Monday. Pokemon Sleep is actually a thing. John, your thoughts, your feelings, your hype level. I know you're very excited for Pokemon Sleep.
What are your dreams?
Yeah. Oh no, I can't hear you.
Oh no.
Check.
There you are.
There she goes.
Hear me now?
Yes.
And then he disappears.
And then he disappears again. Oh my god.
So we're gonna put a GoFundMe in the chat for John's
Check.
Okay. Oh, there he goes.
There you are. And you're it's like you move again slightly and it just like
To start this podcast over again?
Maybe. We may have to.
Do we hear me for now?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I'll just sit perfectly still from now on.
Yes.
Okay.
Do that.
Beautiful.
All right. Pokemon Sleep. It has emerged from memedom. It's an actual thing now. People still don't understand what it is. The marketing is beautiful. It couldn't be better. But I don't know. I think it sounds kind of neat. Just sort of like sit there, set your phone next to yourself, sleep, and then find out what the game has to tell you. Like, I don't know. Like, it sounds amusing to me anyway.
Have y'all ever used like any of the sleep tracking apps before?
No.
Okay. But I have. And like, because like I had like a Fitbit, now I have like an Apple Watch, hashtag not sponsored, just to like see how I was sleeping. And like whenever my sleep schedule was really jacked up is when I used it. And like it shows like how restless like you are, like what was it, like I guess it measures by your pulse, like, oh, you were more awake, you weren't in a deep sleep, so it was very up and down. So I think this is supposed to be like the Pokemon version of like a sleep tracking app. You can set like your goals for like, I want to try to get 7 hours of sleep tonight, like and it'll measure that. But it has
I like how everybody's like, ban TikTok, we don't want them tracking us, ban TikTok, let us watch you while you sleep.
Yeah, we want your
Pokemon
sleep
company.
data. Why? That's, you don't need to know why we need that, but we want your sleep data.
So now, like, since it's a phone app, like, I mean, is this all going to be based off the sound of your breathing?
I don't know, because I haven't ever used the ones that don't have like some sort of wristband thing attached to them. So like they have the little Pokeball shape thing and it showed it like in the bed next to you. I'm like, okay, so is that listening to you sleep? Is it feeling like when you move? Or was it just in the bed as like, oh, it's Pokemon Sleep, then you take it on the go for Pokemon Go stuff? Like,
yeah, like, I mean, like,
yeah, see, there he goes. It's next to him.
So like I can't imagine that could be something that could like read your pulse like a watch would.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I guess we'll just sort of stay tuned on that front, but we're all gonna have like Pokemon brand sleep schedules soon enough.
Yeah. I told myself I wasn't gonna get this stupid Pokeball thing, and now I'm actually thinking about it because I want to know how it works.
You shill.
I think what's it retailing for, like $55 or something?
Is it really? Is it that
I think
much?
something like that.
No.
It seems like a $24.99 or $30 item to me, or product.
Right?
Does
Yeah, I
does it
don't
just
know.
work? What does it work with? What I didn't watch it because I'm not a Pokemon fan, but this just makes me absolutely fucking curious as
Okay,
to
at Best Buy, it's 54.99. Yeah,
holy shit.
That's like
so
20 bucks more than the actual like the Pokemon Go wristband thing that yes, I bought back in my heydays of Pokemon Go. Because like you sync it to the app and then instead of like actually having to open the app to catch the Pokemon, you just push the button when it lights up. So
oh,
like it's
well,
good for Pokemon Go players, but
that is handy.
and then I guess this one's gonna sing to you to wake you up with the Pokemon Sleep app.
Oh my
Mm,
god.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, it'll
I
have a
don't,
nice little Bulbasaur, a little Pikachu. I want a Bulbasaur, of course. That one's my favorite Pokemon, but everyone
fair.
else probably wants
I don't know. Every
Pikachu.
every time you guys talk about Pokemon, it's just like it seems to me as an outsider looking in that they just keep asking more of their player base. Like especially with Pokemon Go, there's like we want you to go outside and physically search for these. And then with all the recent games releasing, they're like, we don't care if it's the same shit. We haven't innovated much of anything, but here you go, eat it up. And then now it's like, now we want your sleep schedule. Like, what is next?
That is kind of
Who
funny. Yeah, that's a
knows?
good point. Yeah, how much further can they take this? Like, I mean, I'm sure eventually there'll be the Pokemon amusement park and they'll see like what
Hmm.
crazy
I'm
things they can do to us
surprised there's
there.
not a Pokemon amusement park yet, to be honest. Because, like, I
Yeah.
know, like, I've mentioned this before. They're making like games, products, all this stuff for like people our age who grew up with Pokemon and
Mhm.
now are kids. So they're having to like cater to like the new and the old generations. But they definitely want the older generation's money because we're the ones with jobs who can just spend
Right.
the money. And 8-year-olds not
Yeah.
buying Pokemon cards for themselves yet.
Yeah. They're also not
So
buying themselves the $55 Pokemon Go Plus Plus.
no, but they're gonna ask their parents for it.
Right. And can we just
So
talk about that name, the Pokemon Go Plus Plus, where one
I
plus is a word and the other plus is a symbol?
I
I hate
hate
it.
it.
It's
It's what was it like
very
the
odd.
what was the 3DS like XL something? There was like a oh, it was the new 3DS XL. That's the
Yeah.
Yeah.
vibe it gives me.
Yeah.
You had the
Well,
3DS XL and then the new 3DS XL.
even that kind of makes a little more sense to me than plus plus.
Yeah.
I
Because
don't know.
that at
I
least
could see
wasn't
them.
dependent on a physical symbol. But
Just a nub.
yeah,
Yeah.
right? So I don't
What's
So
know.
what's funny is like that you mentioned, coming to like parks and stuff like that. I wondered that. I was thinking about, all the other brands that Nintendo has, and then like with the Pokemon Company, obviously, they're in heavy, deep partnership with them. But the one thing I was thinking about is like I wonder if Nintendo will do like pop-up shops inside of their, Mario. I don't even know what's called. Is it called Nintendo Land or Mario Land?
The
like
amusement
Super
park
Nintendo
or their
World.
store.
At
Oh.
Universal at
Oh yeah,
Universal.
that's Super Nintendo World.
Mhm.
Yeah, so like if they're gonna do like pop-up shops there, and the one thing that as we talked about and we continue to talk about how the scalper market sucks, for some reason I feel like they're gonna do, exclusive like bundles or game releases there with like specialty items included with them. And God, that would like make me more mad than anything than any online waiting queue that I waited for to buy a game is if they do exclusives there.
Well, Disney
I
already
don't know.
does that. Like I've seen
I know.
what
Oh
happens
really?
like yeah, I've seen photos like it's called like spot the scalper at Disneyland and like because it's supposed to be a limit per customer but then it's like but oh like my family's over there and you gesture to a crowd of 100 something people, my family's over there, like I'm getting one for each of us and my family. And it's like no, you don't need 50 fun shaped gold popcorn buckets for your family. You're scalping
Says
those.
you.
John's like,
Yeah,
I get 25 every time I go. I eat a lot of popcorn,
Yeah.
actually.
sure, man. I mean, you gotta match your appetite. But Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I hadn't considered that possibility for like game releases. Like Nintendo specifically, like until recently, I mean, until what was it? Like literally last year is when they expanded the online Nintendo store. Prior to last
Mm,
year, you couldn't even buy like physical Nintendo games
Hmm.
from Nintendo. That wasn't an option. There was just the eShop. So like I feel like they're adapting to this model so slowly that like I can't imagine that they'd immediately imagine like selling exclusives at Super Nintendo World as the next step. Um, where price gouging is a thing, anything's possible, so you could be right. I
yeah.
I just don't anticipate that being a thing that'll happen in like the next couple years.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Some of the like wristbands and stuff that I've seen people buy are like only $40, which in my head, at a park, you're at like a theme park, and that's it'd be out of the question if it was like 60 or 70. But
yeah,
then again, if you're going with the whole family, then it can get expensive. But I feel like
Oh
that's
yeah.
fairly priced. But if they have
I
exclusive like Pokemon you can get there, I'd be
mm,
curious to see about those types
true.
of
I
special
didn't realize
events.
you had to buy the wrist thing separately, but that makes sense if you get to
Yeah.
take it home with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Man, I
So,
see. I haven't been to an amusement park in uh well, if we don't include Korea, I haven't been to an amusement park in like over a decade, so I have no idea what prices are like for anything anymore. So,
okay, so
Yeah.
you're gonna come to E3. We're all gonna do a little group trip to Super Nintendo World.
Oh,
oh
I
man.
forgot.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
never even considered that possibility. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ah, damn.
Yeah. Fuck.
Wow.
Forget working. Forget working that actual week.
Right? Yeah.
We'll
Go to
go
a
Wow.
get like
party.
super sunburned at the theme park before we go to the actual
Right.
Yeah.
conference.
You
That
just
happened to be my
completely,
first E3. I got very
oh man.
sunburned at Disney World or
Oh
Disneyland,
no.
Oh,
and
really?
then
You
walked
just
around for 4 days. Yep.
Oh, jeez. You just totally blew my mind. Like, I genuinely hadn't considered that as like an option that exists. But the problem is
I wouldn't
everyone
even
else who
care if
goes
I
to
look like a
E3 is
piece of
going to
raw
also
meat.
do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh, well, anyway.
Oh, it's
But
gonna be super packed
But
then because you're gonna get the fans that bought the fan tickets,
oh
and
yeah.
even how that goes. That I mean the show floor, the past years that E3 was a thing. I think the last time I went, you went, right, John? That was like
yeah,
the time we stayed.
2019.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, even then it was pretty busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was also really dying, so like there was still space to walk around.
Geriatric 3, yes.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, to get back to something Mary said, I was reading the official description for the Pokemon Go Plus Plus,
Ooh.
and as Mary said, it talks about how it'll sing lullabies as you wake up. But here's the phrase that I find really funny. Pikachu grows friendlier the more you sleep, unlocking even more sounds. That makes me imagine that when you first buy it, Pokemon Pikachu just hates you. Like, wake up, Pika.
Angry, like little
Wake
Pika
up.
grumbles in the morning,
Yeah.
like, wake up, you loser.
Yeah, just wildly antagonistic to you. Like, why did you even buy
It
it for like the first 3 months?
it'd be true to the TV show, you know. I don't know if y'all remember like the original
Yeah.
cartoon, Ash with the rubber gloves dragging Pikachu by a rope because Pikachu was like, I
Wow.
don't want to go with you.
That's right. Yeah, I'd completely forgotten that because I remember he like throws the Pokeball and I think Pikachu just like bats it back with his tail, I
Yeah.
think.
It's just like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I totally forgotten that. Wow.
Speaking of original Pokemon and the classics, they're also releasing the classic set of Pokemon trading cards, which I think is funny because I
Yeah.
still have mine in a box.
Right.
I think it's on
Oh
my
shit.
floor right now. I was filming something with it.
Nice.
So
Yeah. Those are like the only cards I have. So when that was announced, I was
yeah,
thinking, oh, that's neat, but that's also literally the only thing I do have. So
yeah, I
uh,
still have
Yeah.
all of mine. And I still have like it's in the box and everything too, like the paper board. Like, I mean, of course, this set is like fancy, it's
mm,
premium, it's black, it's
yeah.
super clean and
Yeah.
contemporary. It's got like these little things with like the numbers on them. Mine
Yeah,
came
it's like
with
a
little,
high-end chess set, but Pokemon
yeah,
cards.
mine came with a paper board that you unfold and then cardboard tokens, and I still have them all in the box. I was like,
Oh,
how do I
nice.
I was like, why do I have this? I don't know, but I have it.
I have no idea where they are, but I know I had one of like the fold out mats as well. And
Mhm.
at the very beginning, I think the markers were just like it wasn't like specially marked anything. I think you just used beads because I had beads that I used as damage
Yeah.
markers.
Yeah, I had like
So
little blue colored stones and then like the little
yeah,
cardboard tokens. Okay, so those
okay.
stones were part of it. I was like, did I put these marble looking things in here? Or
No,
was this
yeah,
what
no.
came with it?
Those I bet that those came in like the physical starter packs you could buy, the
Yeah.
themed starter packs. Yeah. So that must be how we have them. There's no way we both independently imagined that.
Yeah.
Like
Some
Gosh.
sort
had
of
that
fever
idea.
dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Did you
I
find any
joke.
pogs or slammers in there?
dude, I
There
have
is
them
like a
somewhere.
Pikachu and the Chansey like token looking pog thing, like,
Oh
Oh
man.
shit.
and it
Nice.
has like on the back that I even the instruction booklets are in there too. I'm gonna have to make a TikTok on this just so I can like
Yeah.
unfold all of it.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I'm curious
I
how the
don't
rules have changed compared to like what the trading card game is like now.
Yeah, like I mean, I honestly I don't know, but I know the meta is like wildly evolved because the Pokemon have like 250 HP now, et cetera. Whereas like it used to be like Charizard and Chansey, I think each had 120 HP, and like that was the most HP.
Hmm.
So like I feel like our old cards are like completely outdated and get annihilated now.
Probably.
So
It's okay.
power creep, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh
cool
and then
idea though.
there's some other stuff announced during the Pokemon Presents, a new Netflix show, which I think looks kind of cool. Pokemon
Yeah.
Cafe, Pokemon Masters X, and of course Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are getting DLC and new Terra raids, and I still haven't touched those games. But one of my friends was like, they released a broken game to me. Why would I pay them more for DLC? And I was like, duh, it sold terribly. They need more money to fix the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. It just didn't
It
sell.
just didn't sell very well for some reason. What it is, it is like the highest selling Pokemon game though, I think.
It's the fastest selling Nintendo
Yep.
game ever released in history since the
Good
Mm-hmm.
NES.
God.
But
But
that's just not
why?
now.
It's just not enough. We just need to sell the
Yeah.
DLC and it'll be
And
fixed. It'll be
and
good.
now
Everyone will love it.
and now we want your sleep. It's like I don't know. To me, honestly, like an honest take, like as cool and as different and maybe a little innovative as that sounds really invasive to me. Like really invasive. Like I don't want to gamify my sleep. Granted, my sleep schedule's shitty anyway, like I don't know, 5.5, 6 hours a night, but still at the same time, that just like what I don't know, to me, it's just like what more can they try and squeeze out of somebody? Like what else can they get your food?
I mean,
We'll
they have
find
those
out.
food tracking apps, you know.
Right. Yeah.
My
Those
Fitness Pal.
exist.
Yeah. Right. My Fitness
Yeah.
Pal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yeah, it is funny, like to think like most companies, like yeah, if they do something about like recording your sleep, there's going to be some degree of skepticism about where this data is going. But because it's like Nintendo and Pokemon companies, like all right, let's sleep with Pikachu, that's fine. And like that's the extent of the critical thinking that goes into it.
Yeah.
So
I
I don't
wonder I
know.
wonder if they'll ever like have or like they had like Tickle Me Elmos and maybe they have like a companion
And did
Pikachu
you
that's
see
coming
the
with it.
animatronic Pikachu that was at like the presentation?
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
No, it's so
Uh,
creepy looking
What if
though.
that's
yeah,
coming?
maybe Eric can find that for you, Greg, but
Yeah, I'll say there it is.
it's
Like
uh it's a
I think,
thing.
yeah, and it's not CGI. I don't think. I think that was like an actual, like just the way its
That's not
eyes
real.
like blinked. Why
Is
would
that
you
real?
CGI Pikachu like that?
Right.
Because they're fucking weird. They want your sleep. I think they can do anything they want now. They have the power.
See, what made it so weird is that the thing was never addressed.
Yeah.
Like so right there you see the CEO of the Pokemon company talking, and there's just this mobile Pikachu staring and smiling and blinking at you, and like my first thought was, oh, that's a little creepy, but I guess we're gonna see
Yeah.
that for sale soon, so I guess he'll talk about that. But he just never talks about it in the whole showcase, and then the thing ends. So it's just this lingering question of what the hell was that? Like so
Were
like
there any slits in it? Did anybody see any holes?
like, I mean, that's the thing. Like, this thing could like show up at like Build-A-Bear Workshop next month. We don't know. Or
Gosh.
I saw like another kind of like pseudo hypothesis that like maybe this was like adjacent to the stop motion Netflix show. Like maybe this is
Oh
somehow
yeah.
marketing for that because it kind of has that stop motion animatronic quality. But I don't know. I think
Or
the
what if
real
you put
answer
your
is it's weird.
what
Yeah.
if it syncs up with a sleep app and you're actually sleeping with Pikachu, and that's like,
That's your new sleep
Well,
paralysis
this
demon.
is
if
yeah.
we extrapolate from the price of the Pokemon Go Plus Plus, that's $55. Same functionality in this Pikachu. It'll probably just cost you about $450.
Wait. Oh, I was gonna say we should all say the price at once, what we think it would be.
Oh.
I was gonna say 200 if that was a
I was gonna
thing.
say 300 or 400. They would absolutely
Milk it
charge
like
out the ass
crazy.
for that thing.
Yeah,
Oh, you
yeah,
can milk it too? Oh, then sign me up. Must be Pokemon confirmed all mammals.
Oh my.
You can milk them all. Gotta milk them all.
Gotta milk them all. There you go. That's the strategy for
Uh,
2024.
That is the Pokemon Company strategy. They're gonna milk its player base for all it's worth.
Anywho.
So, if we have any other thoughts or feelings on Pokemon Presents, or if we don't, then we can move on to the other presentation that happened that I actually forgot happened. The State of Play.
I reminded us.
Yeah, we had a State of Play recently.
Yeah.
It was something.
That's a good description. Like
like there just wasn't a lot from it. I mean, like Street Fighter, wait, hold on, I'm looking at the thing that you had sent. Street Fighter was part of this, right? It wasn't a standalone.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
The final three characters.
Yeah, like they stole the show. Absolutely. The game looks beautiful. It looks really cool. I'm very excited for the player base. I'm not the player base.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this looks really good. Like it looks really crisp. Like, I don't know. I'm really impressed with it, like from like a visual standpoint.
Yeah.
Are either y'all Street Fighter players?
I'm terrible at all fighting games.
I'm decent, but I don't know. I Street Fighter 5 left a really bad taste in my mouth, especially after I was super invested into 4. And that's when I really, because like I played so many fighting games, you know, Clay Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Rise of the Robots, Killer Instinct. You know, I loved Mortal Kombat 4 is probably my favorite. You know,
really
the Street Fighter Cross. Oh, it was the first delve into 3D was like, I don't know. It's so I just got like
you just loved
goosebumps
Shinnok
right now. Yeah, I liked Shinnok, Scorpion. I forget who else. Or I played. And oddly enough, I played it on 64 the most.
Yeah.
But you know, I have even like Blaze Blue. I played Marvel versus Capcom. I want to play what's the Fighting Herds game? I want to play that. The one that has like
herds.
animated, the animated ponies. You know, the what's the King of Fighters? Yeah, I played like a ton of them, and I think that was just but like Street Fighter 4 like really got me into it, where I was like, yo, this is like a game that I could start getting better at, and I did. Granted, I was playing on controller, and it gives me a lot of those vibes.
You weren't playing keyboard and mouse.
No, I do. Well, fight stick. Everybody, I swear to God, everybody with a fight stick is just a complete snob. That's my hot take. But
probably.
And I do have a Chun-Li fight stick that I tried to get used to using, but I'm awfully terrible. But Street Fighter 5 had these like random advertisements in them, and it was just, it felt cheap to me. And this feels like an absolute resurgence of the quality that people are expecting. And everybody's simping for Cammy, and Zangief is like just looks like an absolute beast and actually fun to play with. So I might be back in it to play it. I think like a little bit more than casual, not quite, super competitive, but definitely I'll put some I'm sure I'll put some hours into it.
I actually did play a little bit of the first closed beta. I was invited to do that. And
Oh,
like,
really?
yeah, and I only played a few matches and I was completely annihilated because I mean, like I suck in the first place and I was playing against a bunch of people that like really wanted to be in this beta. So it was, like me against like an Olympic gymnast sort of deal. But the thing, like the game itself seemed like super solid. And it also has that brand new control scheme, right? So like there's like a casual mode now where like it's like simplified inputs.
Okay.
And at first I didn't realize that was the default it had set me. So in my first match, I wasn't even able to do a fireball. And I was like, what the hell? Like I know how to do reuse Hadoken. And then I realized it was on the simplified controls. It's like, ow, all right. So like I don't suck that bad. Like it's like I think with simplified controls, it's like literally you tap forward and hit a button and you're shooting a Hadoken. So that should level the playing field for like beginners. I think if you stick with it, then you're just a loser. I'm being a gatekeeper for no reason. Again, I'm terrible.
That's kind of nice though,
but
to get people introduced to it.
It's fantastic. Yeah, no, I was kidding. Like, it's definitely a fantastic option. And I had the most fun just making like you can make like your character avatar, and the amount of options you had to make your avatar was like so ridiculously robust. Like you can go into like the most minute details of how you sculpt the face or how shredded the body is. You can even change the skin. Like you can decide if you have like super oily, like slippery skin.
What?
You can, yeah, you can make yourself like literally metallic and like shimmering like gold if you want. Just
Oh, that's sick.
because. It's awesome.
Nice.
And but the kind of weird part though is like it's all just to make your avatar that like walks around and to get into matches and stuff. You don't actually fight as that character.
Okay.
So like fine, so be it. But in the closed beta though, you could only make that one avatar and then that was it. You couldn't make any others. And I thought that was disappointing because that's all I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was screw around making dudes. Yeah. So I just made like the most absolutely diesel Goliath that I could. It was awesome.
Nice.
So even if you don't care about anything else, I think you'll have fun just screwing around in that character creator. But
I think that's
a little bit I could
though.
understand. It made a good impression on me. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody Channel 3 Gaming mentioned in the chat Bloody Roar, and Bloody Roar on the GameCube is like hands down. I played that game through with every freaking character front to back, and it was like in college I spent so much time playing that. I would love to see a Bloody Roar remaster or something Bloody Roar coming in the future, especially if it landed on a Nintendo system. Like sign me up.
Yeah. I completely forgot that existed.
It was such a sick franchise. I miss it.
All right. So there's a fan base out there.
I just want to turn into a bunny. Turn me into a bunny, god damn it.
That makes sense. Why not?
Yeah. And then so some other things I talked about at the State of Play was like some VR games. Like I'm looking through this list and I'm like, I can't remember these, but I do remember feeling slightly panicked because I just bought the PSVR 2 and I was like, all right, cool. It's like the day after VR 2 release. They're going to talk about some games. And I just remember being like, I'm not feeling optimistic about my purchase right now. I don't know. Like,
damn, that
like I
much?
said, maybe I just need to go rewatch these and again and see if there's something that like I'm going to be interested in. I'm like, but I have Call of the Mountain right now, which I'm really enjoying. I have the Resident Evil games to look forward to. Awesome. I'm just hoping there's going to be like more and like more variety and like we were talking in our group chat earlier, I mentioned like combat in Call of the Mountain and y'all were like, wait, there's combat? I thought this was just a walking simulator. And I was like, no, like yeah.
So did you already have the PSVR 2 by the time in your hands and playable by the time the presentation came out?
Yeah, like I think the presentation was like the day after release date. So like I had it and I'd gotten to play with it for like 30 minutes. I didn't have a lot of time because it showed up on like a release date was like a Wednesday, I think.
Yeah.
So it's been like about a week. So I hadn't really gotten to play like a whole lot. Yeah, just like got to do like the initial setup, which that in itself was like really cool. And like I'm nerding out over like just like the controls and like how immersed it actually feels. But I'm definitely enjoying like the Call the Mountain. I just want to see a good variety of games and support for it.
See, I wish they would have done that presentation in that way where it was like, okay, like we have these games, maybe, the state of play happens later in the day or 2 hours later, but everybody like reward for, shelling out that much money for a PlayStation VR 2 is like, why not have an exclusive event where you can watch these trailers in immersive VR before the actual event of just the VR titles. And then during the presentation, you show everything. And the rest of the people that weren't able to get it or didn't want to buy it, at least have something to look at. But like, why not showcase the games in 3D, in immersive 3D world on your immersive 3D device? Like that just seems like it would have been a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, so I saw on like Twitter that I guess some people in the industry got emails from Meta after the launch of PSVR 2. It was like there was like I don't even know how to describe it, but Meta just released an email that was like, yeah, just a heads up that of the 40 plus games launching on PSVR 2, about, over 40 of them are already on Meta devices and playable right now. So like just like totally ripping the rug out from Sony, being like, yeah, like this really isn't that big a deal. You can play all these games right now on our Meta.
Yeah.
So
and like,
I just picture Zuckerberg like, yeah, send it. Go ahead and send it.
gosh, he's sending it from his Meta headset.
Yeah.
And I think the email also noted how like some of the games were even like funded, like their development was like funded by Meta, some of these games.
What?
So it's like, yeah. So it's like, I don't know, like it definitely gets that
thing to do.
Well, I mean, I think it's a great idea personally. If I was Meta, I totally would have done that. But like it definitely gives this impression though that it's like this games lineup is a bunch of leftovers from other places, because there really are very few exclusives right now. And I mean, whatever the exclusives are, we can't even name what most of them are, which goes to show that even if they're good games, they're not being marketed well if we can't even name what they are. Like, we know there's
Well, like I said,
Horizon
like you
and
can't
there's
really,
Resident Evil
it's hard to
Village.
market VR games, like how do you showcase the best aspect of it on a flat screen?
Right.
Yeah, and like that's what like made me hold off on getting VR for so long, I think, was like I put on like a couple VR headsets, but it's like you don't really know what to expect until you're wearing the headset and you're standing there like with it in your hands. And so yeah, it is hard to sell, but like this one, it's cheaper than the Steam one. It's like half the price of the Steam, the Valve kit or whatever, which is crazy expensive. I've heard it's really good, but I wasn't ready for that price tag, that $1,000 price tag yet. So I was like, okay, I have a PS5, PSVR 2 seems really promising. Call the Mountain is good. It's gonna be like a game for sure for me. And then like the Resident Evil games, I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna be scared, but I'm looking forward to it. But I really like it. It's like I showed y'all the clip that is now in like the TikTok that we posted today, where like I like ducked down and like then shot the bow, and like I actually I had to like lean like my whole
I was
body.
gonna ask you, like, could you reenact like how much you were leaning in that shot?
I actually
because it looked like you were like bent.
No, yeah, I was like this, like all the way over, and then had to like get my arrow and like let it and like hit the button to like release it all while I'm like like on my
That's pretty sick though. That is pretty sick.
Wow.
So, and the climbing's disorienting. Like I've actually felt like not like motion sickness, but like there's times where I'm like, I know I'm not actually going to fall, but my stomach just drops a little bit from like his like
the
way it like tilts with you. It's like, oh no, I'm falling. So
Yeah. Yeah. See, with Sony, like the way that they've revealed PSVR games by like literally by like the dozen, it reminds me of those old discs you'd get for free back in like the late 90s where it's like you'd buy it at like Staples and it's like 30 games for like
Oh yeah.
9.99. Like it has that sort of
Mahjong.
feeling. Yeah,
Mahjong again.
exactly. Yes. I
Oh
had
my
one that had
God.
Mahjong on it. I think that was the first time I'd ever heard of Mahjong in my life on one of those CDs.
Bonus tiles.
Yeah. So like that's the
God.
kind of vibe I get from these games. Like it really just feels like, oh, we have all these games. They're, you know, numerous. And
Games.
like yeah, like
Tons of them. A slew of them.
like yeah, like it really gives like that bargain bin vibe when you like when you just talk about them so many in such broad strokes. And like again, like we don't know for sure if these games are like that. Like maybe some of them have a really great value, but by taking this like scattershot, like, oh, we have something for everybody approach,
Yeah.
like you need to be more specific than that. Like theoretically, yes, you want something for everyone. It's impossible to market something to everyone.
Hmm.
You have to be like, I have this demographic, and for this, we're going to really showcase this game for this reason. And you have to be willing
Yeah.
to do that for several games. You can't just be like, here's 40 games. Go do your homework and find out what the hell they are.
Yeah.
Like,
A
that's what
confused buyer
Sony's
buys
strategy
nothing.
is. Yeah, exactly.
Gosh.
Like, I don't get it.
So you're
No.
Yeah,
saying
and
there's
there's
enough software that they can practically use a shovel to shovel in this mound of software. Can we call it shovelware? Because that's what it seems like.
Hey.
Whoa. I think we just
So,
did. But
but Resident Evil 4 remake is being worked on for VR, and they also showed a fancy new trailer. Or did
yeah.
y'all see
Yeah.
the trailer during the state of
I
play?
I was like half busy writing up some other story, but I did see Krauser trying to kill Leon.
Yeah, and that looks reworked. It's not like gonna be a quick time event fight,
Yeah.
which is gonna be fun because
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember just the series of just it looked so cool, but I'm just button, button. I have to hit a button now. Button,
Uh,
button, button.
yeah.
So
I didn't like any of that QuickTime stuff, and I think they basically said that that's gone for the remake, which is great.
I wouldn't have minded if they kept like a little bit in it, if only
Like
just to mess with people. Like whenever I died like 3 times to this one fight, going into it, I have my hand ready to hit the button I need to. It changed the buttons.
I was gonna say a
oh
different
jeez.
button.
Yeah, so I'm mashing like B or whatever, and it's like LR, like it triggers, and I was like, what? So I died again. And I was like, okay,
That's
cool. It
great.
changes the buttons on me, apparently, if I die too many times.
That's a very Resident Evil thing to do to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
I thought it
Uh,
was the best showing of Resident Evil 4 though.
Oh yeah, like the minecart section, like I mean, I have some nightmares from that just because I was so like stressed out over it, but it looks like it's gonna be such a cool game. I'm so excited
yeah.
for it. Like it just looks really cool.
I keep forgetting that it's so close to releasing.
Yeah,
Like I don't
Yeah.
think of it as being that close, but it is.
it's less than a month away.
Yeah.
March 24th.
24th. Yeah. Wow.
Mhm.
Yeah. Jeez. Ah, man.
Uh,
I already have a
It's
bunch of games
crazy.
that I'm not playing.
right? I'm
I
like
gotta
in
start like a
Persona right
dragon.
now.
Right.
Oh
Right. Right.
man.
Everybody
And
wonders
then
why I don't finish games, and this is why. I'm just like I'm
they
too
keep
overwhelmed.
releasing more.
Yeah.
And then to wrap up the state of play talk, they showed a nice extended look of Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, and
They sure did kill the interest in that game.
yeah,
Just they
I
brought that dog out and they shot it right in front of us.
I was like trying to be optimistic going into this, and then like I'm watching the gameplay, and I was like, why does it feel like
Disgusted.
they yeah, like just the jumping movements. I was like, it feels like they forced in Fortnite like animations to Suicide Squad, which like it just felt
Wow.
really disconnected. Like nothing against Fortnite, but just the way this moves and feels like watching the gameplay, I was like, it doesn't feel like how they should be moving as characters. Like
Yeah.
Harley Quinn has a
Yeah.
hook shot for some reason. Like
Because there
I
was
don't
that Spider-Man
know.
power up in Fortnite.
I don't know.
Yeah, but like look at that like initial like I think this is probably it is like the initial trailer where they're on that rooftop. It seems like it's it seems like I don't know, like it was going to be much more strategic, a lot slower.
Yeah.
It had like a better like the scale of it was a little bit more realistic, and then what they showed was like a action arcade shooter Fortnite crossover that like mixed with some I don't know Sunset Overdrive feels. It just, but why? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't
Hmm.
seem like they're staying in line with the vision of the game that they originally presented, what it was going to be like, and it just seems like it's like cheapened from that initial vision. Maybe it was budget constraints or whatever, but this ain't it.
Yeah.
Like,
Or like
it's
I don't know
just
if they're
weird.
trying. Oh, sorry, go on.
All I was gonna say is it's just like we're looking at this gameplay right now, and like I'm trying to like reconcile like so this is set in the same world as the Batman Arkham games and is made by the people that created the methodical Batman Arkham combat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then they brought in like the gear scores and like the loot, and they were talking about they literally was like a quote something along the lines like as the numbers go up you can challenge stronger yada yada. It's like
They mentioned
okay.
gear score and I just tuned everything out. I was like, I don't want to
Yeah.
hear about a gear score. I was like, I do not.
It's like I mean these people literally just watched the Gotham Knights game like die like it was like DOA. Like just it came out the gate terribly. And it just sort of looks like they learned nothing from their compatriots' failure here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it sucks because
I
like I like oh sorry, go on.
Oh no, go
No.
ahead. I
I was
was
gonna
going
say
to
like
bring it
it
back to John
sucks
after this, but
okay. I was gonna say like it sucks because like I like DC comics. I like the DC universe. So like
Hmm.
as I said, I was trying to be optimistic going into this other. Maybe they just got a rough start with the marketing, and then I see this, and I'm just like, I can't be excited, and I'm
yeah,
sad because I can't be excited.
it's like a Saturday
Yeah,
cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, a little bit. But then like the cinematics are kind of more serious. And they like lasso of truth, the Flash, and he's like, "You have to kill us all." It's like I don't know, like there's a lot of things that just like aren't jiving here.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even realize like to how extreme a degree that was the case until we started talking about it.
Yeah. But I think you made a good point earlier, John. We were talking offline, not on the podcast, about um like online games, and I think that's a very strong point. But if you could maybe kind of explain what I'm talking about a little bit, how you were talking
Okay. If it's the
but
thing I think you're talking about. Yeah, it's so all right, so long story short, we were talking with another friend of ours who he made a list of like the really strong online games that he still enjoys playing, and it was games like Fortnite, Apex Legends, Warzone, yeah, of course, Greg, Warzone, like Final Fantasy 14. Like it was this long list, and the point of it was all the games that he listed. Just he didn't intend to do it this way, but the way it worked out is he was listing all AAA juggernauts that have existed for years already.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is like if those are all the games you're playing and those are the ones you look forward to and those are the ones you continue to play, that means all the other ones are the games that people are not playing. And they keep announcing more of like these online games, more of these live service games, but there's only one pool of players that's playing these games in the first
Mm-hmm.
place, and that pool isn't magically expanding every time one of these new live service games comes out. It's staying more or less the same with, a few new people here and there and also a few people bowing out each time. And so
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand here like I don't understand the market rationale of how do you keep deciding to make more of these huge budget live service online games, if the pool of players is basically locked in place and just isn't even open to trying many more of these games,
Mhm.
where do you
Mhm.
make your money back? Where are you finding your player base?
Right.
Yeah, and you know, my response to that was like, you have to at least have something like enticing about the gameplay, the community, or you know, do it's you can't strike gold again like newcomers like Apex Legends did. I mean, you did see a small dip in Fortnite's cut. You saw that was when you know Warzone was barely even becoming a thing, and multiplayer Call of Duty. You know, there's still playing people playing multiplayer, Search and Destroy,
Mm,
TDM, but Apex Legends did something where they had the the veteran pedigree from working on games like Call of Duty to then make a new studio that you know was able to forge games like Titanfall,
right.
Titanfall 2. They had EA backing them. They already, you know, showed their worth, and then they presented their new game to EA, and you know it was funded, and they did create something in line with the Call of Duties out there, in line with the Fortnites. It's very much
Mm,
so borrowed ideas from both of those games with their own mix of it.
mhm,
But even for players like me, like I had to ditch one of the other games, whether it be Rocket League, whether it be Call of Duty, whether it be Fortnite, to then
mhm,
now only play Apex over those games. So that's what I was saying. Like you are 100% right, I think, in that you know mindset, in that theory, because I
yep.
mean we're seeing it unfold before us, and it's like you're not seeing hundreds of millions of people or even a million people in any of these player bases. I mean, look at
Yep.
Halo is struggling. Who ever thought Halo would be
Yeah.
struggling? And it
Yeah.
is.
Never would have guessed.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Halo.
Halo is the multiplayer staple.
Yeah.
It is supposed to be.
I was about to say
Yeah, it's
it was like
supposed to be.
king.
Yeah. Like Halo 2 on the original Xbox was like a cultural event. Like
Mhm.
literally. That was such a big release, and now it's
It
like eh.
was.
And I
So
hear Forge is like super awesome, making your own levels. Like that sounds really fun. It's just like
Yeah.
Microsoft dropped the ball so badly with like everything, like more or less everything. That's just hard to come back from that.
It's
Like,
like even that player base is, you know, left a bad taste in their mouth. They're like, hey,
yeah,
this is the thing I'm supposed to love, and it sucks. But here,
right.
let me introduce you to something else that might also be just as bad. And it's like everything you've shown me about this game so far is awful. What's going to
Yeah.
make me, you know, I'm already, feel the burn from this game that was supposed to be, you know, something from my childhood returning in modern form and applying modern mechanics. But if you can't even do that right, then why am I supposed to invest in something DC has made with a horrible track record, you know, or
Mm,
DC characters with a horrible track record? And it's like
mhm.
I don't understand. I honestly do not understand. It's like who's you know planting the seed to make these games, who's pitching them, and who's
yeah.
letting them just like fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
It's
we'll get real it feels like we'll get really good games and then we get games like this where it's like it feels like the people who are making them are out of touch with their
Yeah.
player base at
maybe.
times, and it's like how
Yeah,
that's
like
all we can ask right now is just how,
how?
why would you
Yeah.
do this to us? I thought you knew
Yeah.
me and what I wanted.
See,
That's how I
that's
feel.
oh, go ahead, Greg.
I was gonna say, who's the idiot at the exec table that's like, yeah, sure, we can steal players from Destiny. Like, yeah, come
Yeah.
on.
We're gonna give them a
Are
single
we?
player experience, but make them be online 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
Suicide Squad is too. I'm like,
Yeah.
why?
Online
I'm playing
only.
by myself.
It's a terrible idea. Just
Gosh.
like it's like they're trying to be Babylon's Fall or something. Like, ah, we can top that. Like,
Yeah.
I
That's a good thing to aim for.
don't know.
Yeah. We can self
So,
implode much quicker than them. You watch.
Yeah. And
gosh.
so that like this is such a strange point to make, but like so like the classic Call of Duty model of like we're releasing a game like annually because we have the absurd capacity to do that. We're gonna have a robust multiplayer experience. You're gonna buy it. You're gonna buy, like, I don't know, some season pass to go with it. We're gonna milk you, and then we're gonna do it again next year. That model, it
Yeah.
sucks, but I understand it, and it has a solid player base. Why you would just give that up for like a million live service games, and I'm not saying Activision specifically, I'm saying the developers in general trying to give up that model for live service, like, why? Like,
Yeah.
why? Like, like, I mean, I know it takes a lot of time, money, effort to build a new game from scratch. I understand that, but at the same time, even Call of Duty, I mean, I have to imagine they're importing a lot of mechanics. They're using the same engines, etc. Like, they're not
Mhm.
actually starting from scratch each time. And these other developers weren't either. Like Assassin's Creed, like it's all games of
Yeah.
iteration and how much you have
Mhm.
to iterate in order to charge another $60, $70. But like, I don't understand, like, that model, they knew it more or less worked, more or less with an asterisk, because there is some fatigue on some of these series, but like, the model in general worked. Moving to live service as the replacement and watching literally almost all of them die one by one as they release, like, breathe the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you get games like Sons of the Forest and that are like
Mm.
topping the Steam charts, and it's like,
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
but again, it's something different. It's something that,
Right.
that, and it's in early
Yeah.
access.
Hmm. And
Gosh.
it's a sequel to a game that like was beloved.
Mhm.
Right.
Like, that's a game that actually had an install base ready to go and play it.
Yeah, I think this
So
is just like Avengers little brother scenario. I feel
No.
like this is just going to be, honestly, like it gives like all the same vibes as Avengers did. Like, yeah, there's some initial
yeah,
excitement. Yeah, there's recognizable characters from a universe that people love. But at the end of the day, if it's just a blatant loot grab, and if the most optimistic players can identify that in your presentation, you are fucked, and you're already fucked before the game even launches.
yeah, yeah. For some reason, I might have even had like a more positive opinion of the Avengers game than I have of this so far. Like,
I don't
relative
think
to
I had
that
any
point in the
opinion on
cycle.
it. I did not pay
Wash
attention to
your
the Avengers game at all.
I didn't
wash your
either,
mouth out
which
with
makes it
soap,
more of
John.
an insult against Suicide Squad.
Oh my god. What a low blow.
All right. Well, we have a lot of thoughts and feelings on Suicide Squad, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna bring us back to some Nintendo news.
Yeah.
So something that we are all definitely looking forward to, that we should all once again go see together. The Super Mario movie date got changed, but it didn't get pushed back. It got moved forward by 2 whole days.
Yeah. How
I
about
don't
that?
think I've seen anywhere why it got moved from from April 7th to April 5th, but they
Yeah.
announced it today. It's still set to release in Japan on April 28th. So they have they're getting it
Weird.
after the US and 60 other markets around the world for some reason.
Yeah, give or take. That's weird. But
And they went
But
from a Friday to a Wednesday.
a Wednesday, yeah, that's
yeah.
an unusual date.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
I did a little Googling, and by a little Googling, I mean I clicked one result, and it was Deadline, which is one of the major movie sites. Their
Okay.
take on it was that, and I think it was speculation, but it was like knowledgeable speculation because they're one of the major film websites. Is they think it was to capitalize on more people being on spring break that week.
Okay. See, I saw other like fan speculation that like I guess in like Latin American countries they tend to release on like Thursdays. I guess so, like
Oh,
a midnight release on like, or like an 11 p.m. on like a Wednesday, when that midnight happens on a Wednesday would put it there. So, but like I said, I saw fan speculation. I didn't see anything confirmed, but I was like,
mm,
okay, I mean, if they didn't want to like spoil it for other countries, that they're
mm,
planning to release just a day or two later, and they
mm-hmm,
figured might as well just move it.
Oh,
mm,
Rebecca says it was Easter weekend.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Passover?
which could be more spring breakers potentially. Even though it
Oh
Yeah.
feels
yeah,
like
but then the
it,
fit that would have been Good Friday.
right, yeah, Good Friday,
So
yeah.
That makes sense.
I
okay.
don't
That
Thanks,
could also, yeah.
Jesus.
know.
Just saw that from Channel 3 Gaming.
Yeah.
So,
Thanks, Jesus.
oh man.
Well,
But then
but,
something
yeah.
Nintendo is not doing is showing up at E3.
Yeah.
They've confirmed it.
Like, I mean, I think for the general public, it's gonna have like minimal to no effect whatsoever. Like,
Yeah.
like I'm sure they're still gonna end up doing like in some sort of Nintendo Direct in that E3 time period because they always do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the one year that there was an E3, they did a partner showcase. They could do another one of those. I guess it just depends how much they have to show.
Yeah,
That's
because
always the
like
question.
it's in June. Tears of the Kingdom will have just come out. I'm still always trying to call it Breath of the Wild 2. Tears of
Right.
the Kingdom will have
Or
just released
Totka.
like
T-O-T-K. Totka.
Hotka. It's still gonna be, I think it's like gonna be less than a month after June 9th through 13th. So it'll be just hitting like its 1 month release. But then after that, Pikmin 4 is in July. So, but I don't think they have anything else like announced at least for the fall. We still don't know what like the holiday game is.
Yeah. So we can probably expect those Zelda remasters to finally drop for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, especially if there's a vacuum to fill.
My gosh.
I'm hoping it's WarioWare.
Another WarioWare.
That wouldn't hurt. I mean, that could be pretty cool.
Gosh, I love the WarioWare games.
Oh man, the first WarioWare is like such a freaking brilliant masterpiece. It's so dumb and it's flawless.
But
I love Smooth Moves. Smooth Moves is like one of my favorites.
Yeah, that's good too.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are like afraid of like this is like the official death of E3, like without like Sony or Nintendo and Microsoft like being there. I'm like, Microsoft's just gonna go do its own thing, like, you know, as it kind of always did, because the Microsoft Theater is like right there. But I'm like, I'm still trying to be optimistic, and I'm like, I feel like I'm the only one. I'm like, there could be like other developers there, like they're just not under the Xbox umbrella. Like there could still be BioWare, there could still be Bethesda. We could still see like all these
Capcom,
companies.
Enix,
yeah, Capcom.
Yeah.
Well, when does Street Fighter come out or release?
June 2nd, I think was what I saw.
They'll probably do like they'll have like I'm sure they'll bring streamers up or celebrities because they have had celebrities in the past on their stage there.
So that'd be a perfect time to like, if people were still on the fence, be like, here's a demo, here's like a competition, like, you know, I know like Nintendo, like with Smash Brothers, was there at E3, they did like a Smash Brothers like competition. You could either play the demo or you could join like the competitive line. Like there was 2 ways for you to play it. And like, I had like some of my friends who I was there with were like, I'm gonna go compete, I'm gonna see how far I can get. I was like, you do that. I'm terrible at Smash Brothers.
See you in 5 minutes.
Yeah. I think I actually missed that appointment because I was still in line for Pokemon.
Lame.
But with Reed Pop, which is the New York Comic Con people doing E3, they do a really good job of running New York Comic Con. So
and they do
I think it's gonna be a fun. Yeah. I've never been to a PAX, but just based off I know about the New York show, like I mean, like I think they're equipped and have the knowledge to put on a really fun show, like at least for the public. I guess it remains to be seen how they do for the industry end.
They're doing a lot more like industry only days this year, whereas like the last couple of E3s, which were like the ones before 2020, like press only got like half a day at most, and then the public was let in. But like I think there's like a whole like almost 2 days where it's like just industry, just press people. And then the public gets to come in for like the last, not like the last, but like the next 2 days or so, or like there's like a shared day somewhere in there.
I think even in those days, I like majority of my meetings, because like for anybody that doesn't know, like so like E3, you don't just like go to all the booths and play the video games on the floor. Like when you go in as press, you set your appointments before the actual show. So they'll maybe say, hey, we have, this game that we're showing at this time, or, slots open, and then you schedule out your days and the games that you're going to cover and coordinate with your teams to like, okay, I'm going to be at this place on this day seeing this game. You're going to be here. I'm going to be here, whatever. So, but like a lot of my appointments during that time were like behind closed doors. Like I avoided most of the sweaty public and was like, got to
Filthy
play,
animals.
yeah, got to preview and go do my stuff. And like, like I said before, I said this many times, I've been going since 2009 consecutively. I think 2009. So I've like
Wow.
got it down to a science as to like what I'm going to do there, what I'm going to cover, when I'm going to have time to write, when I'm going to, get stuff to preview. But I just, even in the years, I think that it might have been 2019, even in the years when, companies didn't have a lot to necessarily showcase, I do feel that it was a opportunity for a lot of the indie developers to show their
Mhm.
games, and like the indiecade. I feel like even like other hardware developers, we saw a lot of the Switch docs come out that year. We saw the I think that was the year that Xbox did their what's the fat controller called?
The Duke.
The Duke. They did the Duke
Mm.
with the animated Xbox logo in the center of it. So I feel like even though we're going to miss out on some of the big, publishers, the big three, I still feel like it's an opportunity for other smaller publishers, developers to pick up some of the slack and still showcase something good at the show that even
Yeah.
fans that are paying for the ticket to go see it, will
Mhm.
will enjoy.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I hope Reed Pop can do a good job of arranging that for everybody because that could be really good. Like
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
the only E3 I'd gone to is actually the one where I last saw you, Greg. And like I just remember feeling really bad for the public. Like the public would get in these like obscenely long lines for like
Yeah.
hours to play one
Yeah.
game. If it was like an anticipated game.
Yeah.
Like that's like if you go for the day, you might end up playing like literally two games and then have to go home because
Yeah.
that's all there's time for. Like
Yeah.
that sucks.
Didn't they do like
Yeah.
fast passes or something last time?
No, like I remember Nintendo, and they started doing this at like PAX and like other events too. Like you would sign in like with your Nintendo account to get like a QR code, and you would make it like a time to show up,
Was it
and
you
then
mean
you
like
show
the
up
Yeah.
the
with your
warp pipe pass?
yeah,
Yeah.
like, but that wasn't like E3 doing that. That was like Nintendo,
Nintendo. Yeah.
yeah, doing that to like try and get as many people in
Yeah.
as
Like
possible.
if you wanted to play like some indie game you've never heard of, then yeah, you could probably do that in like 15 minutes. But
Yeah.
if you wanted to play the new Dragon Ball game, that's 2+ hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I waited 2
Yeah.
hours in line for Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
oh man.
Got a cool
Good
Spartan helmet
Lord.
out of it, but
Oh, that's sick.
the the
yeah, they gave out Spartan helmets for it that year.
wow. The only cool game I played at that E3 that like I didn't have an appointment for and I just walked up and played was what's it called? Darksiders Genesis, the like
Genesis?
the yeah, like
Oh,
the
nice.
Diablo-ish kind of one. That was cool. And for some reason, like they had a bunch of setups and like usually I could just sort of walk up and start playing, so I did. And I had a fun time with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Too bad they
Yeah.
can't all
Yeah, I
be like that.
remember. Yeah, I remember one year they did, I think Sunset Overdrive. They had it in like this, like they had like a bus or something, and they had these stations, and people were like waiting in line to play it, and it was like super deep lines to play. It was super flashy. It was like one of the
Hmm.
hyped up games of the year. And then Xbox had this other section where they just had demo stations, and they had Sunset Overdrive playable like over in these like random demo stations. So you could just go walk over. I think they did that for like
Everyone
Cuphead
went to
2 one year.
bus.
Oh man.
Yeah. No, play the bus.
Yeah, I'll never forget my first E3. I mean, I only went to like 2018 and 2019. I've only been to two,
Mm.
but like playing the Elder Scrolls mobile game. I can't remember what it was called.
Blades?
Blades. Yeah, I was gonna say swords. I was like, it's not swords. Something slightly cooler than that. But yeah, the blades. But I remember going up and playing it, and they gave you like a sweet roll, like an actual little
No
mini
shit.
edible sweet roll as like your little takeaway. And I was just nerding
I
out
love
over it
stuff like
because
that.
it looked like it. And I was starving, of course. I hadn't eaten since breakfast. So I'm like, I want to save it. Then I was like, no, it's food. Why would I save it? So I ate it.
What you mean?
Good.
You were hungry enough for a $25 hamburger that was boiled?
No.
Soggy fries.
Oh man, good old convention center food.
Yep.
Just constantly smells like farts and BO.
Gosh, but
I do hope they bring
then,
back the live bands and shit though. I want to see
oh
more
my gosh.
like
I remember
nerd
seeing
bands playing. Yeah.
I was gonna say I remember seeing the Just Dance performers at like the Ubisoft booth.
Oh yeah.
Like they had the stage set up and like all of a sudden you would hear the music start up and like they'd be on stage like doing like the
It's
Just
like,
Dance
oh,
stuff.
okay, I'll watch.
Like I'll watch it. I'll vibe with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, since Nintendo won't be at E3, I guess where they're not announcing new hardware, even though it once again is back in the news. Switch Pro rumors.
Here we go again.
Still alive and well in
Can
the
you
year
believe it?
2023. This is this time, and of course, I'm the most skeptic person humanly possible with rumors, but so I take all this with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But this is coming from the person who apparently had all of the Pokemon Presents DLC info like correct. Had posted it before the Pokemon Presents. It turned out to all be true. And then at the very end, it's just we're working on a graphics enhancement patch for the new Nintendo Switch models that will be released alongside DLC 2. And I'm like, I feel like every Nintendo leaker out there just adds at the very end Switch Pro, new hardware, just to give it that little extra boost, you know? And I'm like, we've been talking about the Switch Pro since the Switch came out.
Right.
What you mean you don't want to beat this dead horse?
The OLED was
Want
the
to
Switch
break its
Pro.
bones, Greg?
Grind it
People
into
will
dust.
not accept that the OLED is the Switch Pro. That's it. There's
right. And
whatever is after this is not a Switch Pro. It's just new hardware.
yeah.
Switch plus plus. Come on.
Yeah.
Gosh.
There we go. Switch plus plus. Yeah.
Probably.
It listens to you sleep. Yeah. But I mean, even the phrasing of that, we are working on a graphics enhancement patch for the new Nintendo Switch models. Like, I mean, if you wanted to take that earnestly, and I really don't, but if you wanted to accept that as an earnest statement, you could read that as like, oh, well, they're gonna release like yet another Pokemon brand Switch to go along with some of the DLC,
Yeah.
something like that. It could be something like that.
Or
What
like
I
the
actually
OLED.
think it is nothing. I think it's fluff. But
yeah. It's just
but,
or maybe
it's
it
the
has
one
an
false
RGB
part.
dock.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Needs it.
Yeah. But you know, good old
know.
4chan, it's never gonna run out of info for us. Like, who
Yeah,
are these
I've said
people in
this.
life that are like, oh man, I have this juicy info. I better run to make my 4chan post about it. Like, who are these people? Like,
get my 4chan clout, my internet clout. I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
Oh man, these white supremacists are gonna think I'm so cool.
I've never been on 4chan, I can proudly say.
Like,
think I ever want to.
There's plenty of chans to pick from these days. 4chan, 9chan.
Yeah. Well, apparently 4chan is like, I think like one of the more moderate ones. Like, I think 8chan is like the hyper like pervert freak illegal one now for
Oh,
like
I thought they were all like
psychos
that.
and racists and stuff. Well, yeah, no, they all are. But
like a
4chan
family
by
reunion.
comparison is the moderate one, apparently.
God, I didn't realize there was.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize there were darker corners than 4chan, but
get out of here with that incest porn. That's 8chan.
Go to 8chan with that shit.
Yeah.
Anywho,
I don't know. I've said this long time that we are definitely due for a new Nintendo system, being that it's 7 years old at this point. And you know, I said, like, would you want an iPhone that's 7 years old? And you're like, no, it's old as shit and it's slow. And it's like, well, there's some things about the Switch that are showing it's showing its age and could definitely use some more horsepower. So whatever that is, nobody knows. Even the leakers. I mean, grain of salt, always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. You said the Switch is 7 years old. I'm like, no, it's not. And then I'm like running through what year it is in my head. I'm like, oh,
What year
Switch
did
is
it?
7 years.
Well,
2016?
wait. No, it came out in 2017, the Switch, so
2017.
6 years. It's like
Oh, 6 years.
entering,
Okay.
yeah.
Still, I'm like, it
Right.
just came out like 2 years ago. It's what it
Yeah.
feels.
Brand
It,
new.
it still feels so new and like it's been succeeding. Like, so I think it's been a very successful system.
Oh yeah.
I know, like, and I boil it down to I just think some games aren't optimized correctly for the Switch.
Mhm.
Here's me
Yeah.
being like a Switch fangirl. I'm like, your game just wasn't optimized properly. But like some games do look absolutely beautiful on it, some games do not. And then I have games that I love dearly, like Fire Emblem Warriors Three Hopes, that my Switch I thought was gonna blast off into the air with how loud the fans were. I was scared. I was like, oh no, my Switch is gonna explode
It's
because
like
of
my
this game.
PS4 that whenever I decide to boot it up and it's like, and I was like, it's not warm yet. It's still warming up.
Gosh. But I think that just about covers most of the headlines that we were gonna talk about. So let's just go ahead and get into what we are playing. I'm gonna take volunteers. Who wants to go first?
Mary.
I
volunteer,
volunteer.
Mary.
Will volunteer me to go first. Okay. I'm still playing Dead Space Remake. I'm still terrified. There was a head on the ground with tentacles coming out of it, and I hated it. And I wasted so much ammo recently. Like all of a sudden, I was almost out, and I was like, "Why am I shooting everything? I should be stomping. I should be meleeing." But I was just panic shooting so much stuff. I already talked a little bit about like Horizon Call of the Mountain. I've gotten to sink like a couple hours into it now. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Like I said, I just hope that like there's going to be more VR games in the future that like give me this kind of like experience of like the full immersion. I think it's really cool. I think the crafting's really cool. Like you actually like get like all the little parts like for like your fire arrows, and like you take the feathers and you place them here, you take the arrow tip, you place it like, so it feels kind of, I'm like, I probably sound like it's super gimmicky, but I'm nerding out over it because it's new to me at least.
Sure.
No, that sounds like it feels authentic, like
yeah.
to
And
Horizon.
like I wasn't as big of a fan of Forbidden West as I was Zero Dawn, but I loved Zero Dawn, and I still think it's such a beautiful world. And to actually experience it like in VR and be able to like look around, look down off of a cliff, like it's just a whole new way to experience a world that like I'm a very big fan of. And then of course I've been playing a lot of Persona 4 Golden. I now have Kanji on my team, and I died laughing when he's just swinging a folding chair for a weapon, and I was like, what is this video game? And then I was like, okay, well, if I give him a different weapon, what's it gonna be? And it's just like a tatami mat, and I'm like, he's just like swinging things two-handed around. I'm like, okay.
That's his charm.
So,
Yeah.
but I like it. I'm still stuck on like who my little theory of who the murderer is. We're gonna see how that plays out and like who's next. Is now it's been like a pretty big
is your
break.
theory the same right now on who it is?
Yeah, my theory's still the same.
Okay.
I'm bracing myself for like a plot twist or to like expect the unexpected though. And I think, yeah, like what was I saying? There was like a big break now between like rescuing Kanji, and I think I might have done it earlier than I was meant to. I kind of like just barreled through like the bathhouse part. I did the optional boss, everything. Tried to get some levels to make up for my lack of leveling in the first like dungeon castle area. And now I'm like, okay, now I'm just like waiting for like the rain and the midnight channel to see like who's gonna be next that I have to go rescue.
Right. All right. Cool. Well, I'm glad you're continuing to enjoy it because as Brett and I have discussed, it's either like the 4th or 7th best game of all time or something like that. So, yeah. All right. Very cool. Glad to hear it.
All
Okay.
right. Who wants to go next? Y'all can't volunteer
Greg.
each other.
Yeah. So yeah, I've finally been branching out a little bit, trying to play some more games. Having a really good time with Atomic Heart. I didn't know I would like this game as much as I have started to come around to it. It took me a minute. I did watch, other people play it, and the initial gameplay for it looked a lot different than what the actual gameplay is, and a lot of
Oh,
the
really?
looting and stuff like that. Yeah, I was very surprised at the presence of RPG elements in it that I didn't think would be there. I thought it would be a more linear story, and apparently I haven't really opened up the game to its full potential yet to go where it's like semi-open world. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say this, that it is, I think, one of the things that visually did early on was present itself as this like massively beautiful, graphically impressive game. However, the story of it is just eerie, creepy, and different enough that I'm like intrigued now. And there's like
Oh, yeah.
there's a certain level of becoming uneasy, or the way that some of the robots start to approach you, that's kind of unsettling. And I kind of like that vibe about it. It gives like a little bit, there's definitely some comedy littered throughout, the dialogue or interactions with others, or this might be a little spoilery, but you'll come across soldiers or scientists that are seemingly dead, but one of the main pieces of the story in the game, about how all this stuff exists, is the invention of this polymer that lives inside these people, and they use it to get smarter or learn certain things. But in some cases it's like keeping them alive. And he'll come across some of these people that you think are dead, and they're like, hey, can you lift this giant pillar off me? And he's like, no, you're dead. And like they'll have this like weird, like funny conversations that I feel like could only exist in like this weird Soviet Union timeline. And then just like overall, the stuff that you come in contact with, I think is just, it's like somebody actually thought to make something different in a first person story driven shooter that borrowed from a lot of different places. I get a lot of Portal vibes, I get a lot of Wolfenstein vibes, get some BioShock vibes. And even the leveling system is really different. You have this glove that talks to you, that's not unbearable to have from scene to scene. But just even like weird stuff, like the weird trolley system that you encounter. There's a grandma in there that just cusses up a storm and then ends up firing a fucking rocket launcher, like not even like 30 minutes into the game. So it's just like all these things are, I think, very fitting for what this team was able to pull off and make such a different experience so far. A little bit, I get a little bit also of Condemned. I really liked Condemned 1 and 2, and they were had some sci-fi elements to this like crime detective series. And the first person combat with melee weapons is, I think, what mostly reminds me of it. um but I did have some like motion sickness at first, because you don't have a sprint, but you have a dash, unless you unlock some sort of sprint later. But even the dash, like getting used to like first person dashing and swinging and shooting is a little hard to get adjusted to. But I felt like
As an
after going
Apex
into,
Legends player?
yeah, even I think there was mostly like the camera shake. And there's
Okay.
no, so even in Apex, like I had there's a field of view slider that I set to 120. And so I feel a little bit better. And there's like, you can turn off things like motion shake, and like certain like things that they have for like abilities, like certain abilities it'll change like the scene around your character. But this doesn't have a lot of those sliders that I'm accustomed to. And I wish there was a field of view slider, because sometimes
Mm.
it's almost like, especially there's a like a swimming portion where you swim through the polymer, and it's like this clear jelly liquid that's like water, and there's even like fish swimming around in it. And you can't really decipher as to where, what the direct like direction you're supposed to go. And so you're like bumping into walls. You're like, oh, do I jump out here? Where's where I'm supposed to go? And it also it just makes me like almost motion sickness because it's so close to you and it's confusing and it's just like get me out of here. I just want to stand and look look at my environment for get my bearings straight for a moment.
Right. The
Um,
developer tweeted that they're working on FOV settings.
oh, praise
Okay.
Jesus.
Yeah,
Craig's like, thank
Yeah.
God.
because
Yeah.
I know this because the Escapist has an SEO article specifically about how to change field of view in Atomic Heart. And if you don't want to wait that long, apparently there's something that you can download online called Flawless
There's a
Widescreen,
mod.
which is like, yeah, it's I guess it like specifically exists to like do that to games, and it has like Atomic Heart in its system. It's called Flawless
Yeah,
Widescreen, and you can tweak
I
it with
that's funny.
that.
I remember that because it was
Mm,
there was another game that used it and it worked for the most part, but it caused like some like weird clipping in certain areas
mm,
and big well, obviously it's a third party piece of software, not
right.
intended, by the developer. But yeah, having a really good time and maybe I'll actually finish a game for once. Outside of that, I'm trying to catch up to you, John, and finish Super Mario Land 2. I
Nice.
think I have like four of the coins completed.
Okay.
And again, like I just love that it's such a weird venture into Mario lore. Like all these things
Yeah.
that you see now in Smash and incorporated into other Mario games. I just love seeing, their where their roots came from and just like a weird experience overall, but it's fun. And I
Yeah.
love laying in bed playing it on my Switch.
Right. Yeah, that's what I did too. Yeah, the game's just
Yeah.
really imaginative. There wasn't anything like it didn't do. It was just like, oh, this would look neat, so they threw it in the game.
Yeah. Even the
Yeah.
part where there's like some dude that's like releasing bats and you have to like jump on the bat to get to like a higher area in the level. And then you like get to the latter part of the level, or I think it's the next one. There's like these weird umbrella enemies that are floating and launching around you on screen. And you're like, okay, do I attack it now? Do I dodge it? Or even like
Mhm.
some of the ants that you jump on have spikes and stuff. I just think it's like so different that, probably one of the reasons why I think Mario 2 is one of my favorite games.
Mm.
Um, Obviously, the US Mario 2, not Japanese Mario 2.
Mhm.
So I'm really enjoying it. And then, of course, playing some Apex Legends. I am becoming a sniper god. I am getting
Nice.
exceptionally
Putting it on
experienced
your
in my
business
craft,
card.
putting it on business cards. Took out a newspaper ad to tout my accomplishments. But no, I really think I'm what's funny is like I've always hated playing like as a sniper in a game like that, especially a competitive,
Uh,
ranked based multiplayer shooter. And I'm like Overwatch now, and I can sit back and like pick off people and man, like sometimes like I don't know, it's just I guess it's like a personal accomplishment hitting, a sniper shot from like some crazy ass distance and you get a headshot and or something like that. So I'm still enjoying it. TDM is a new addition. They're starting to treat the game more like Titanfall 2, and they have upcoming multiplayer modes into like a mixtape, just like they did in Titanfall 2. So I foresee a lot of things coming to Apex in the future that continue to make this game, give it the lasting power that obviously Suicide Squad will not have because it will be trash on launch. But
Oh
that's
oh,
yeah.
there
all
you
I'm
go.
playing.
Brought it full circle at the end for the sake of insults.
Yes, sir.
And Super Mario Land 2, that's on Switch Online.
Yeah, that's how I've
Right.
been
Yes.
playing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's one that I have not
I think
played.
Game Boy Pocket filter I think is the best out
Okay.
of the three.
All right. I've just been playing it on like the default like faux green filter that they have. I think that's
Nice.
nice.
Mm,
That's all I need.
yeah.
I just like the options, the
Yeah.
filters. I think it's
They're
cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
they did it. They did like an above average job by Nintendo standards on that. Like it's not just like the bare minimum emulator, so that's cool. But I guess we're up to me.
Yep.
So now I
Take it
volunteer all
away.
of us one by one. So yeah, I finally finished Ghost of Tsushima. So that
Nice.
was
Nice.
the end. So I beat the main game, and then in one sitting, I did the DLC, or at least like a good chunk of it.
Okay.
I think I beat Ghost of Tsushima in like, I think it was like 58 hours, and I really tried to do everything I could find in that one, relatively speaking.
Hmm.
And then the expansion was like, it had a lot more content than I was expecting. It's like another
Yeah.
island, and the
Yeah.
island is like maybe 2/3 the size of one of the three main chunks from the game. So you're
Hmm.
getting like at least like another 20 to 25% worth of game from this
Hmm.
expansion. Whatever they
Damn,
charged for it, yeah, whatever they charged for it
that's
when it came
thick.
out, yeah, it was worth it. So yeah,
Hmm.
anyway, I really enjoyed the game in general. I thought the combat was just really fun. I played it on the
Hmm.
normal setting, and I'm sure if I'd played it on one of the harder difficulties, that like it'd become really cerebral because it's not just you facing one dude. It's usually you versus like 8 dudes. And I
Yeah.
mean, you can stealth your way through situations, and usually I'd try to do that, but like you just go wild stabbing dudes and throwing bombs and like smoke grenade things. Like you have a lot of fun
Hmm.
options. Like the combat in general, I thought was really, really fun. Um, the
Yeah.
exploration, uh, the exploration was fun too, actually. My only complaint is the same complaint I had with Horizon Zero Dawn and pretty much most exploration games. I hate climbing. Climbing is no fun. Like, just don't put climbing in video games. Like, it's like, is walking from point A to point B fun? Usually not. Climbing is moving from point A to point B just in another direction and slower. Is not fun either way. So
So you
like,
want
They
a
got to put a
jetpack?
stamina bar in there somewhere.
Yeah.
right? And that's not to say that there was a ton of climbing in the game. There really wasn't, but there's shrines you can go to. And
Hmm.
like each shrine is like its own little like mini platforming adventure pretty much. But like I just didn't think any of that was fun. I just felt like they were all like 5 to 10 minute time wasters. So every time I'd find a
Yeah.
shrine, I was like, all right, I gotta climb to the top of this thing now. It's like, eh. But that's
Yeah.
genuinely like one of my only complaints though. I thought the game was really fun. Artistically, it was really well done. Um, I think the story could have been a little better in spots. Like I liked the general story, but like it felt like so many of the side quests and even sometimes the main story was always like, all right, here's a situation, and the twist is that the person's actually bad. Or it'll be like, all right, here's a normal story, but the twist is everyone dies at the end. And they do that for like, those are the only two formulas they use for like 60% of the quests. Like, turns out this person was actually bad, or oh, everyone's dead now. You should be depressed. It's like, okay. Like, it didn't feel like there was a lot of imagination in the side quests.
Hmm.
Yeah, but
It's like the same formula for every horror movie.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I don't watch horror movies. I hate all these stupid horror movie endings where at the last second everyone dies. You
Yeah.
thought the
Or
bad
the
guy
whole
was
time
killed.
everybody's been dead.
Hmm.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So,
Uh,
so yeah,
I
meh.
loved this
But
game. I'm glad that you
yeah,
liked it because like I
yeah.
remember like the combat like I liked a lot. It was different
Mhm.
at first and it took me a
Yeah.
little to get like used to
Mhm.
swapping styles, but like once I got used
Yeah.
to it, it was fine. It was still challenging, but then once
Yeah.
I like maxed everything out, it was so satisfying. It's like
Yeah.
there's 8 of you, I'm ready to fight, and this is just
Right.
like take them out like no problem, just like wipe
Right.
the dirt with them and but it was
Exactly.
challenging for a bit and I liked
Yeah.
that, but I also like the satisfaction of like my
Yeah.
hard work.
Precisely, yeah. And like later on, you get like the super abilities, or if you press L1 and R1, you do 3 strikes that you can't block
Oh
and it just
yeah.
eviscerates them. Like that's good stuff. And when I was getting towards the end of boss fights, I would always L1, R1 to just be like, screw you, I'm done with this fight and kill them right
Hmm.
away. Like that
Yeah.
was really satisfying. And one more thing, I will say in the expansion, I was really surprised how much the story actually like contributed to the character development of the main character.
Hmm.
Like you get to the end of it and actually comes together like a really thoughtful, like meaningful way, which I wasn't expecting. Like I just wasn't. Like that's not what I expect from Sucker Punch. I
Yeah.
expect good gameplay and that's about it. So I thought they did a really good job there. And again, one complaint, you get like these hallucinations in the DLC because early on you're poisoned by like a witch lady.
Mm-hmm.
Just like climbing, I hate hallucinations in video games because they're always implemented the exact same way. You're walking, you're playing the game, you're having a good time. Everything has to stop. So all of a sudden you're forced to walk in slow-mo so you can get a creepy vision and you're supposed to be unnerved and then there's a voice talking to you. And it's not fun. It's just annoying and it gets in the way again and again and again. And so many games do it. And they all
What's
execute
funny
the
is
exact same way.
what's funny, I was gonna try and come back and like give Far Cry 3 as an example where it was done well, but then you just described the exact same way Far Cry 3 did it. You son of a
They
bitch. Not
all do
again.
it the same way. Like, and again, to be fair, like it actually comes together in like a meaningful, like clever way that like forwards the main character Jin. It like they did that part well, but like everything leading up to it just bored me out of my mind. Like there was one time where a hallucination happened. I literally got up and left the room. I don't know what happened there. I went and got a drink. I just
I
put the
need your
controller
strength,
down.
John.
God.
But
Your
so
willpower.
aside
Oh,
from
yeah.
climbing and like swinging ropes and hallucinations, I thought Ghost of Tsushima was really awesome, and I look forward to the inevitable sequel.
Yeah, it's a very, very good game.
Yeah.
Give it the VR treatment.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe.
All
So,
right. Well,
like a Dragon, Ishin is up next for me.
ooh.
Nice.
I'm surprised you haven't started it yet.
It was because of Ghost of Tsushima. That's why I played the DLC
yeah.
in one crazy 7-hour sitting, because I wanted to just throw it out.
So next week we're gonna hear John come in and then just talk about Ishii and like for the
Yeah.
entire episode.
It's gonna rule. Stay tuned, everybody.
There will be no episode without conversations about Yakuza.
Yes.
It
That's
will
how
be
it
in every
goes.
single one.
If I can
I'm
help.
with that.
Right. Well, this has been Spot Dodge, a live Nintendo podcast, occasionally non-Nintendo podcast. Thank you everyone for hanging out with us tonight. Please leave us a review on your podcasting services. Leave us a comment on YouTube. Drop us a follow on YouTube, Twitch, where we are live every Tuesday. And quick little plug for our Twitch channel. I'm going to start streaming this Friday on our Twitch channel.
Hey.
I don't know what y'all sounded so excited right then.
Yeah!
Thank you. I don't know what game I'm gonna play yet. I'm still trying to decide, but it's gonna be fun.
Donkey Konga?
Awesome.
Maybe. I don't know.
Might be a little hard to find the hookups to get that all stream into a computer.
I could do it
I'll
with
figure it out.
GameCube
Yeah.
adapter.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks everyone again, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
See ya.